Okay, fine. So the greatest Pandya king was Nendujelian, right? And now I think we have started in considering. So Sangam, how were their administration? Right, Sangam administration. So the king was center of administration, who was called Mannam, Vedan, Koravan, Iraivan, or Ko. Right. So the king during the right in the king was the center of administration, and he was mostly called as the Mannam, Vedan, Koravan, Iraivan, or Ko. Right. So Avai was the court of the crowned monarch. Right? Their court was called as Avai. They had important officials as minister was called as Amaichar, uh, Purohitar, which were the priced as like Purohit, Dutar, envoys, Senapatiyar, commander, right? And Orar called spy, right? So spy was called Orar. The kingdom was divided into Mandalam, which is called province, Ur, called town, Perur, big village, Shirur, small village. Okay, so these are some of the terminologies we can consider. Right. Pattinam was the coastal town, Puhar, right, which was called the harbor areas, or we have considered Puhar was also served as the capital for Cholas, right? Alternative capital for Cholas. There had been Cheri, which is called a suburb of town. Right? There had been then revenue administration. The in revenue administration, there had been land tax, which was called as Karai, tribute paid by feudatories. Administration. Right. So we were looking into Sangam administration. So revenue administration was again divided into different things. So land tax was considered called as Karai. Irai was nothing but the tribute paid by feudatories or booty collected in the war, right? Loot. Then Ulgu, it is called as custom duties. Irau, called extra demand or forced gift. Varium, which is nothing but a well-known unit of territory yielding tax. And Varian, called tax collector. Right. See, this is what you can consider. Right. See, this has a touch of South Indian accents. So it is said that in Chola territory, uh, it is said that in Chola territory, watered by Kaveri, the space in which an elephant could lie down produced enough to feed 7 persons. So it implies the lands were very fertile with irrigation facilities. Right. So during Cholas, the lands of that particular region, right, or kingdom were very much fertile, right, and they were having the irrigation facilities as well from the Kaveri river, right, Kaveri, fine, which is called watered by Kaveri. There had been some. Okay, first we will consider administration. So here, king, right, was center of administration. Center of administration, right? Called, he was called as Mandam or Iraivan. This is IRAI, Iraivan, right? Or Ko, right? So their king was termed by these names, right? The court of crowned monarchs called away, called away. Right. So for factual kind of questions, then there had been important officials. There had been important officials, right, which we can consider. So first one is Amaichar. Right, called ministers. Then Purohita, right, Purohita, which is nothing but the price. That is Purohit. Then Dutar, invoice. Senapatiyar, that is commander. Orer, that is spies. Right. So the kingdom divided into province, which is called Mandalam. Mandalam is nothing but province. Then Ur, called town. Perur, called big village. Shirur, called small village. Right. So there had been some Pattinam, which is coastal town. In fact, right, name of coastal town. There had been Puhar, called harbor areas, and Cheri, called suburb of town. Suburb of town. Then revenue administration. Revenue administration. Here, Karai, called land tax. Irai, right, it's nothing but tribute paid by feudatories. Right, or you can consider booty collected in the war. If anybody wants, you can. Now see, in this, you will be coming across different kind of terminologies, right? You need not to worry about these things, but overall, you must have your understanding. Whenever it comes as it is in front of you, at that time you should analyze it, right? Whether it is belonging to Sangam period or any other kind of connection is there, right? That at least that must be known. Done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So
Mm.
let's go next page. Now here you can have uh, Karai, Irai, Ulgu. Ulgu is nothing but the custom duties. Then Irau, right? The forced gift or extra demand. Variam, right? So it's a well-known unit of territory. Yielding the YIELDING, yielding tax. And the tax collector is called as warrior. That is tax collector. Fine. So during Cholas, uh, territory watered by Kaveri. That means land was fertile, enough fertile with irrigation facility. Right, with irrigation facility. Now, there had been Sangam, right? There had been Sangam. So this Sangam was an assembly of Tamil poets, right, which held under royal patronage of Pandyan kings in Madurai. So there had been Sangam. You can consider it into the literature, right? So Sangam literature. So Sangam. What is this Sangam? Sangam was an assembly was an assembly of Tamil poets. Of Tamil poets. Right. So it was held under royal patronage of Pandyas. Right. You can consider Pandyan. Right. In Madurai. In Madurai. Fine. So there had been different kinds of literature you can consider in this period. So I will not go in detail about their names. Now, obviously, the next ruler or the next period is of Gupta periods. Right? It is of Gupta period. Right. So you can have now is Gupta period, right, which was from 319 AD to 540 AD. Probably after this, we will not be writing AD. Right. Fine. So, in the 4th century, a new dynasty called Guptas arose in the Magadh and established a large kingdom over the greater part of northern India. Their rule lasted for more than 200 years. Right. So this period is referred as the classical age. You can call it as golden age of ancient India. Perhaps the most prosperous era in the Indian history. So Gupta period was termed as the most prosperous era in the Indian history. There had been, and it is true, it was called as classical age or golden age because there had been so many different facilities were there, right? So according to epigraphic evidences, the founder of the Gupta dynasty was a person named Gupta. Right? According to epigraphic evidence, the founder of this dynasty was known as or was named as Gupta. He used the simple title called Maharaja. So here you will be finding out now, you will be finding out different titles which were titled by the rulers, right? Maharaja, Raja Dhiraj, Maharaja Dhiraj, right? Likewise, different kinds of name you will come across. So Gupta was succeeded by his son Ghatotkach. Right? Gupta was succeeded by his son Ghatotkach, who also inherited the title of Maharaja. Right? And in this case, you will be finding out different kinds of rulers. I will just tell you. Here you will be finding out Chandragupta I, Samudragupta, Ramgupta, Chandragupta II, who was also known as Vikramaditya. Right? Don't get confused with the earlier Vikramaditya and this Vikramaditya. Right? The names may be same. Here you can consider as like Chandragupta I, Chandragupta II. That means what? Earlier there had been Chandragupta Maurya, right? Then Skandagupta I, Purugupta, Kumaragupta II, Buddhagupta, Narsimhagupta, and further Kumaragupta III. Right. So you will be finding out all these different Guptas. Right. So that is what you can always consider. Right. So whatever the dynasty established or the founded by the Gupta named Gupta, right, which is nothing but the Chandragupta one. Right. So after Mauryan period, you will be again coming in the Gupta period, right, with a name called Chandragupta, that is Chandragupta I, right, who had ruled from 319 to 334. Right. Now you have to divide the span of 200 years, right, over or by these different rulers, right. That is your task. So in this case, very first one that you can consider Chandragupta I. So he was the first Gupta ruler to assume the title of Maharaja Dhiraj. Right, first ruler to assume the title of Maharaja Dhiraj. He had strengthened his kingdom by matrimonial alliance with the powerful family of Lichavis, who were the rulers of Mithila. See, earlier also we have come across this family, that is of Lichavis, right, which were in the Mithila. So he had a very good kind of alliance, that is matrimonial alliance, right, with the Lichavis of Mithila. So his marriage to Lichavi princess, her name was Kumar Devi, brought to him enormous power, resources, and prestige. So by marrying with the Kumar Devi of Lichavi, right, or Lichavi princess Kumar Devi, Chandragupta came to enormous power, different resources, and prestige as well. So he took advantage of all these situations and occupied the whole of the fertile Gangetic Valley. Right. So with the help of Lichavis, he had occupied the whole of the fertile Gangetic Valley. He started the Gupta era, right? That is in 1913, 319 to 20 AD. So Chandragupta I was able to establish his authority over Magad, Prayag, and Saketa. So these three territories, right, have been authorized by Chandragupta I. So original type of gold coins called dinars, right, right. So they have launched by Chandragupta I Kumar Devi type, right. So the original types of gold coins or dinars, which were called as the which were probably having the image of, okay, so gold coins or dinars were originated by Chandragupta I. Okay. So this is what you can consider about Chandragupta I. Right. So in 4th century, in 4th, yes. Right. So in 4th century, that is AD, a new dynasty, right, a new dynasty arose in Magadh, in Magadh, and established a large kingdom over the greater part of northern India. Right. Established a large kingdom over the northern India. Let me see, there is a question, I think. Are they still with our generation? I couldn't get this sentence. Akshay, can you re-ask it? What exactly? What do you mean? I couldn't get it. It's Magadh and established a large kingdom of the greater part. No. Probably clan may be there, but I can't guarantee. Okay. Another thing is, are you asking about the coins? Yes, obviously they might be at different museums. So whatever you do learn, most of the things are available, right? And see, when we came across all these things, when the Britishers came to India, and when we have Department of Archaeology, at that time we came to know all these things. So then most of the things were not known, right? So even if you consider a time period after 1757, so after 1757 we came across these things, right? So many of these things have been evidenced in 19th century only, right? Lot of things. So most of these things are available, right, in different museums or at different parts, right? So their rule lasted, right? So Gupta's rule, their rule lasted over 200 years. Fine, just a minute. So this period, the Gupta period, referred as classical age, right, or golden age, right, or most prosperous, right, or most prosperous era of Indian history, right, or in Indian history you can write, right? So Fine. So here we can consider.
Few seconds, sir.